you know what pumpkin spice is supposed to go on? Pumpkins. Hello and welcome to English Country Life, and welcome to the kitchen on a grey day. Let's cheer ourselves up. Let's have something a little bit special, a little bit festive, a little bit fun. We've got a pumpkin. I'm going to make pumpkin soup, but rather than my normal spicy pumpkin soup, what I'm going to do is be a bit radical and put some pumpkin spice in the pumpkin, and we're even going to show you how to make your own pumpkin spice. Not putting the pumpkin spice in lattes or ice cream or anything else. We're going to use it as intended with our pumpkins. First thing we need to do, peel the pumpkin, remove the seeds and keep them, because this pumpkin came from last year's seeds. So we'll remove the seeds, dry a few of those up for next year and weigh the flesh that's left. Come on. I cut my pumpkins in half because I'm not decorating them, I'm cooking with them. If you are decorating and you've cut the traditional lid in the top, you can do this next step just as easily coming in through the top. First thing I do is save these wonderful seeds. Now I'm going to regrow those next year, and if you're doing this with your kids to decorate a pumpkin, why not? Save some seeds. I'll tell you when to plant them in the spring. You can produce your own pumpkin plants next year. How much fun will your kids have not only decorating a pumpkin, but growing it? So we'll save those. And then the next stage is to remove all the pithy material here. What we're doing, we're keeping this flesh, remove the hard orange skin and remove the pith in the middle. And removing the pith is quite easy. You use a strong spoon to take the pith. Just scrape over the inside and it comes away, as you can see, very easily. Only takes a minute or two. It comes away very easily. The next job, turn it over and we need to remove all this hard outside peel. This is how I remove pumpkin skin. I've got my thumbs on the back of the knife and I'm just pushing the knife to shave off thin layers. And if the knife does slip, and it will, there's nothing in front of the knife that's made of me. Just like that. We've got here 4.5 kilos of peeled, de-seeded pumpkin flesh. And that weight determines how much we need of each of the other ingredients. Don't bother trying to write the recipe down as we go along. I'll put it up at the end of the video. Next job is to chop these into 1-inch cubes. Now we know how much pumpkin we've got, we want 2 onions and a couple of cloves of garlic for every kilo of pumpkin that we've got. So I've got 9 onions here from the onion store, a couple of heads of garlic. We'll go and chop those finely, sweat them off in some oil. All those onions and garlic are in the pan now, and we're going to fry them off very gently until they go soft and translucent. You may be able to hear the onions sweating away here in the background, and while they're going on, we're going to prepare our pumpkin spice mix. Now, pumpkin spice can be used for a whole variety of things, but today we are going to put it in soup. You want to use it for other things, that's absolutely fine. Now, if you've watched a lot of our videos, you'll probably know I tend to keep spices whole. So I'm going to have to grind these up to get them nice and fine in order that we can use them for pumpkin spice. And what we're going to use is cinnamon, nutmeg, which I'll grate rather than grind, cloves, which you almost have to grind because it's very hard to find them actually in powder form, allspice, and some ground ginger. And we'll put those together in the right proportions. Again, those will be shown at the end of the video. Combine them up and then we'll add them to the soup a little bit later. Smell as you break up whole cinnamon sticks. It tells you that it's worth keeping them whole, because that smell, of course, is flavour leaving. And that's our spice mix. 3 tablespoons of ground cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of ground ginger, 2 teaspoons or 2/3 of a freshly grated nutmeg, a teaspoon of allspice, and a teaspoon of ground cloves. Now we need to mix all those together in a bowl. The onions are beautifully soft now, so we've popped the pumpkin in the main cooking pan. Now we need to add liquid, and we're going to use chicken stock. Use vegetable stock if you prefer, but we've shown in a previous video how we make chicken stock, and I think it gives a wonderful flavours to soups. Let's take a look. This is a fresh batch of chicken stock that I made last night, and rather than can it, I'm going to use a great deal of it on our pumpkins. I'm going to use 1.5 litres of fresh chicken stock for each kilo of pumpkin. Our pan's getting quite full now. We've got all our pumpkin, onions, garlic, chicken stock in there. Before we add in the pumpkin spice, I want to give something to give it a bit of heat and a little bit of kick and make it a proper winter warming soup. So I'm going to chop in 1 chilli, seeds and all, per kilo of pumpkin. Something worth noting is that we freeze these wonderful Aromatics chilies whole, and if you chop them still frozen, they're a lot easier to slice than they would be if you let them defrost first, because they go a little bit soft once they defrost, but while still frozen they slice beautifully. Chilies in the soup. Now our pumpkin spice mix, and I'm adding a teaspoonful per kilo of pumpkin. You can add more or less as you like it. After the half-hour simmer, I tend to use a jug liquidizer to blitz the contents of the soup. You can try with a stick blender, and if you're making a smaller quantity, it'll probably work very well. But with these larger quantities, I find blitzing it in a jug and transferring it to a separate vessel is a better way to go. like to season the soup that I make until I've blended it. And I think the reason for that is the flavour changes very much. When you've got thin stock surrounded by big lumps of vegetables, it's sort of, you're tasting the stock, not the soup that's going to be. So I like to blend it first, lightly season, swirl the seasoning in, and I'll taste it and I'll adjust as we go to get a perfectly seasoned soup. There we are. That's the soup. It's a wonderful soup. It's warming. The pumpkin spice blends with the chilli, and it's not a flavour that you can really put your finger on. It doesn't leap out as tasting cakey or like a latte. It's got a warming quality to it. Not hot like garam masala, but a warm hug in a bowl of soup. I like it with a rustic bread. I'm having it here with a rye bread that I bake that has caraway seeds, linseed on top, black treacle. It's a rustic, simple bread, but it goes so well with such a warming soup. And that is our pumpkin spice soup. Give it a try. You should have most of those spices in your store cupboard, a couple of chicken stock cubes if you don't make your own chicken, and the pumpkin that you've probably got anyway for Samhain or Halloween. It's a great soup. It's hearty and it's warm. It's perfect for those autumn days after you've been tramping through the woods, walking the dog or crunching through leaves. It's that kind of a soup. If you're enjoying this kind of content, can you spare us 5 seconds? Give us a thumbs up down below. Even better if you can leave us a comment or tell other people about the video. I'm going to can all this soup tomorrow. There's about 13 litres of it there. And if I get the time, I'll do a video. If you'd like to see that video, hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it and you'll hear every time we upload something new. But whatever you do, come back and see us soon. Take care.